What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to another ARUBA video here for the WSOP main event down here in ARUBA. And unfortunately, our days are numbered as this event will close out our week-and-a-half long trip down here in Paradise. But we have the main event. It's a $1,700 buy-in, and we're starting things off in level 2, where we have 30,000 in stack, and it's going to be a fun one, I believe, close to being around $100,000 up top. And it's a fun 2-day event. What more can you ask for? And I think honestly, these fields are a lot of fun and these tournaments are a lot of fun. So next year when they host them, I'll definitely be back. Also would recommend any of you guys who want to take a vacation to a beautiful island with beautiful beaches and poker. Can't ask for much more. I'll see you here next year because I'll definitely be back. Can't wait for the next one. But for now, today, we're going to focus on the main event, 2-day event. Let's try to run it up. Let's go. Starting with 30,000 in chips, we're in level 2, and in the very first hand we get dealt in pocket 10s in the big blind. There is an undergun player who limps, a cutoff raise to 500, and action folds to me. I'm out of position with a great hand to start off this action with, so I put in a 3-bet to 1,700. Well, upon this 3-bet, we face some resistance as the cutoff wants to put more money in the middle and 4 bets to 3,500. Although I have a pretty strong hand, it's pretty obvious this player has a stronger one, it seems, but priced in for only 1,700 more to hopefully see a good-looking flop or maybe bink a set, I make the call and we're off to a flop of King 3-4 all hearts. I check it over to him with the 10 of hearts in hand, and he surprisingly checks back. The turn comes an inconsequential brick card, and I check for a second time. Now he bets out a smaller amount of 1,700. Okay. It's about a 1/5 bet almost, and I certainly can't fold this one, so I make the call with the 10 of hearts in hand. Hopefully it could be good if we bink one. I make the call, and the river comes a heart. So improved to the flush, I check it over to him, and he kindly checks it back with pocket queens and the queen of hearts. So chipping down this first hand in, but I guess I could have lost more, potentially. But still, we got plenty of room to play with moving on. Progressing to level 4, blinds are 200, 300, 300, and I pick up pocket queens myself in the cutoff this time. There's a +1 open to 1,000. Pretty large open here, and considering I'm in position, definitely putting in another 3-bet. I raise it up to 3,000, and this player makes the call. We're going heads up to a flop here of 6, 7, 3, 2 spades, and a diamond. He checks it over to me, and with this board texture, seems pretty safe for pocket queens given how the hand's played out so far. I throw out a bet of 5,000 here, a little bit larger as I'd expect him to have a good hand. And for 5,000, he calls. Let's see a brick turn and get more money in. The turn is the ace of spades. Not amazing. He checks it over to me for a second time. It's not the best card, but it's still good knowing he didn't have the nut flush draw, so I still could expect my hand to be good here a lot of the time. I decided to just check this one back as I don't have a spade. We're off to a river, which is the 8 of hearts. He checks for a third time, and it's certainly time to go for value against smaller pocket pairs, and I decided that 6,500 was an adequate amount. For 6,500, he goes deep into the tank, and we've got to do some fast forwarding as we don't have all day to make this video. Ultimately, he ends up folding pocket 10s face up, sadly. Looks like we ran 10s into queens, and this player ran 10s into queens himself. At least, all things considered, it's evened out. All right, now on break. All right, we're on break after that last hand. That hand took a little too long. Pretty bad turn, and ended up not getting paid on the river. Whatever, it is what it is. But anyways, this tournament's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this ARUBA trip is winding down to a few more days left with this main event. So far, off to an interesting start, running 10s into queens, and then ourselves queens into 10s. And yeah, now I think the stack is up to around 40,000. Won a few hands that weren't too significant and didn't think they were great for content. So now around 40K after 30,000 in starting. This is day 1B. So this is gonna be a 2-day main event tournament. And depending on how things go today, hopefully we'll play tomorrow and make another video and capture a ring. This one's a really good one because I think like first place will be somewhere around $100,000, and for a $1,700 buy-in, it's great. And obviously we're in Aruba, and seeing the play so far has been really interesting. And what more can you ask for with poker on the beach and for a WSOP event? So gonna end off break, gonna get back in there and get the cards in the air. Psst. Got a quick message for the guys out there, because Valentine's Day is coming up and you're all trying to scramble for a gift for your partner, and my girlfriend Nicole here really loves roses. You want one of these? Yeah, this is a real rose and it's falling apart, doesn't last forever, and we don't need that. I'm not getting paid to sponsor this video, but I do want to give a huge shout out to my friends over at Espoir Boston. They sell these everlasting eternity roses and they last for 2+ years. They're real roses, they smell like real roses, and they last for a long time, unlike these roses that last for like a week or two. They wanted to give you a free sample. If you go to www.espoirboston.com, use my discount code Rampage at checkout, you'll get a free acrylic eternity rose if you place any order on the site. I personally got it for Christmas for my mom and Nicole here, and I'm gonna do the same thing for Valentine's Day. Spoiler to you, but use my code Rampage at checkout for a free gift with any qualifying purchase, and you'll get a free gift. Big thank you to Espoir. Hopping back into the action after break, we're in level 5, and I pick up King Queen of Clubs in the low jack. I put in a raise to 1,000 and get the cutoff to call. Then onto the button player who looks like a solid euro here. He 3-bets to 3,500. Action folds to me, and against the specific player who can 3-bet light a lot of the time, it's an easy call. We're off to a flop heads up. Flop comes King 4 Deuce Rainbow with 1 club. It is as good of a flop as I can ask for here with King Queen. I check it over to him, and he bets out 2,400. Well, I am happy to call. Raising certainly doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'm in here. We're off to see a turn out of position. Turn comes the 3 of spades, brings in 2 spades on the board, and it also brings in ace-5 for a straight, which this player can easily have. Would be really unfortunate if he did have the ace-5, but I check it over to him. He puts out another bet again, and it's for 6,000. Here, I certainly don't see any point in raising, as he definitely doesn't have king-jack or honestly any worse kings as played here. So I would simply only value own myself against a better hand or fold out all of his airball bluffs that he can have. So here, standardly as played, I make the call. The river is now the 9 of spades, so not amazing that the backdoor flush did get there. I check for a third time, hoping to get to showdown, and he decides to jam his stack. It's 15,000 into a pot of around 26K. Certainly not a comfortable spot for my hand specifically when the spade draw gets there, and maybe I'm a little too stubborn to fold top pair, but honestly, with King Queen in this spot, it seems just right and just strong enough to call. I think I can consider folding worse kings here, like King Jack or even King 10, and well, I'm in here. I make the call, not going to fold, and we're both forced to show our cards all in when we're in a tournament. I show my hand. He has 6-7 of hearts for 7 high. Luckily, ran into one of those airball bluffs that he could have and win a really, really big pot early on in this tournament. This next hand that we're in level 7. Blinds have increased to 300, 600, 600, and I pick up ace-queen offsuit in +2. Player in +1, another Euro pro here to my right, opens it up to 1,200. We're both about 80 to 90 big blinds deep here, and given how deep we are, given how early we're in the tournament, I don't want to 3-bet this one, so I decided to just make the call, and well, that entices some action on this table. The hijack, cutoff, now calls. Then the player on the button decides to amp up the aggression and 3-bets to 8,500. Oh god. Action folds to me now as the +1 player who raised pre-flop folds, and overall, this player has about 23,000 in stack, give or take. It's about 40 to 50 big blinds, and look, I don't expect the hijack or cutoff player to be strong here, so for 40 to 50 big blinds, happy to go all in with this hand. Definitely more happy to be the aggressor here, jamming, opposed to calling off a 40 to 50 big blind shove, so let's do it. I close my eyes, announce all in. Action folds around to this button player who calls pretty darn quickly, which doesn't feel good. Hoping for a race, and we're up against pocket 10s. Come on. We've seen 10s go down in flames twice already today, and it's a flip. The flop comes no good. It's not a good flop we're looking for, but the turn comes an ace. Let's go. River is clean. And just like that, we are chipping up massively in the biggest tournament of this whole Aruba trip. It is much needed, and we really need this heater to continue. We progress to level 9, where blinds are 500, 1,000, 1,000. Pocket fives on the button. There's a cutoff open to 2,200, and here on the button, happy to make the call. We're playing late position versus button here. We're off to a flop of a 10, 7, 5, 2 clubs. Let's go. Bottom set is awesome, but sadly he checks to me, so it looks like we have to do our own betting. I bet out 4,300, trying to go for some value, and for 4,300, he makes the call. We're off to a turn, which is the 9 of clubs. This looks like a pretty action-heavy turn. He checks for a second time with what looks to be about 35,000 in stack. This 9 of clubs here certainly can bring in a lot of straight and flush draw possibilities, but also bring in a lot of draws that this player might have had as well. So here, just debating between a check or bet, I decided to go for a bet with bottom set here. Could definitely get value from maybe some 2-pair holdings or some strong pair and flush draw possibilities. I decided to size up to 10.5 thousand, and this player decides to go all in. A total of 39,000, almost 4x our bet, and this is huge, but I don't know. I don't think I'm able to fold this. Don't think I'm able to fold the set when we always have the possibility of boating up and sucking out against a flush here. So I call. Let's see what we're up against. Up against Jack 6 of clubs. Shit. Found the flush here. Pretty unfortunate to be behind in the spot, but let's see the board to pair. It comes a 3 in the river. Unfortunate to not win this one and take a big hit to the stack. Just like that, things were going really, really well and run into a brick wall. Double up a really large stack, and now we're back on trying to rebuild. We have no time to dwell on that hand though, because the very next deal, I pick up ace 8 of spades in the cutoff. Action folds to me, and we're back into the action. I raise it up to 2,200 and get the small blind player to call. So heads up to a flop of ace, queen 4, 2 hearts, and a spade. The small blind player now decides to donk out 5,100. I'm confused as to what's going on. Certainly not going to fold here though, so I make the call for 5,100. Pretty large, almost pot-sized bets. We're off to a turn, which is the 6 of hearts, so flush draw does complete sadly. And surprisingly, he checks it over to me, so confused about the line, but happy to just play my hand standardly. I have top pair and a pretty weak kicker. I check this one back. The river is now the 8 of hearts. So 2 pair, but 4 hearts on board. And even worse, this player bets out 5,000. Such a small bet, such a tease where I wished he would have bet a little bit larger. Part of me really wants to just tilt call, but in these tournaments, chips are so important, and I can't really afford to give them away, especially after losing a massive pot the hand before. So I reluctantly make the fold, and I'll be honest now, tilt is certainly incoming after a rough few hands. 2 hands later, after that ace 8 of spades, I jam ace jack offsuit over an early position raise. Thank goodness that this early position player folds, and I get to chip up a little bit. That helps my tilt feel a little bit better, and the chip stack is now at starting again. 30,000 to go. We're on the comeback trail here, and I pick up pocket 7s on the button. There's a low jack open to 2,500, and action folds to me. Happy to make the call here and see a flop, so we're going to flop heads up in position. The flop comes ace 6 deuce 2 spades. He checks it over to me surprisingly, and here with a pair, definitely want to protect some equity here. I decided to bet out $3,300. Don't expect him to have too many 8x holdings when he checks the flop. And for $3,300, he surprisingly makes the call. So a little bit confused as to what he could have, but we're off to a turn, which is the 5 of spades. Now I have an open-ended straight flush draw with my pocket pair, and he checks for a second time. I guess I'm just hoping this player has some floats with one spade at this point. I don't see myself checking back on this turn, so I bet out 5,700 for value, although it might be a little thin considering how things are going. But he ends up folding the 5,700. So now, at least we win a hand, and the stack is now up to 40,000. Never got to rabbit hunt and see if we would have hit our straight flush, but at least the stack is rebuilding. Things are looking up for us, and in this hand, progressing to level 11, I have 5 deuce of diamonds in the big blind. The low jack opens to 3,200. Small blind makes the call, and these 2 cards are suited. For one more big blind to call, I'm in here. Let's see a flop 3 ways. The flop comes king, 7, 5, 2 hearts. Got bottom pair, but not a whole lot going on for us. Action goes check, check, check. Get to see a free turn, which comes the magical 5 of hearts. So sick here. Unfortunate that the heart draw does get there, but I shouldn't be too concerned given the passive action on the flop. The small blind decides to lead out for 5,000. And with trips here, my hand is as good as it can get. Time to raise it up and get stacks in. I put in a raise to 14,000. The low jack player gets out of the way and folds. And onto the small blind player to my right, who I just doubled up in the big hand with pocket 5s. He decides on a call. Let's see a big one, hoping to see a brick. The river is a brick deuce. Improves us to a full house, and out of nowhere, this hand is a huge bink. If somehow we were beat against a flush on the turn, then, well, certainly I'm happy to get it all in and double up through this opponent. He checks again, and with about 30,000 in stack, I decide to go for it and jam all in. He snap calls, and I don't know what that means, but I've got a full house. This player shows us 5-7 for a larger full house. Ah, shit. That sucks. GG's to the first bullet of this main event. What an absolute roller coaster ride, and just dumped off all of my chips to the player to my right. Good luck to you. God fucking damn it. All right, things haven't gone our way, but onto bullet number 2, the first hand we get dealt in. Ace king offsuit in the cutoff. What a great start. Action folds to me, and I open things up to 3,500. And for 3,500, action folds to the small blind player, who rips his entire short stack in there of 7,500 total. It's an easy call for me, so right off the bat, we are all in this tournament again. We're up against King Jack, so looks like we are a heavy favorite to win and start in the right direction. The flop comes clean. Turn, Jack. Why wouldn't? And the river comes another Jack. Just more salt in the wound. Really hating this journey so far today in this session. Come on. It's been max pain so far. Not loving it. Okay, we can't lose every single hand we play, right? So with ace queen of diamonds, we're out on the gun with 22,000 in my stack now. It's about 13 big blinds. Yep, just going to go all in and commit my stack and tournament life to this one. I jam, folds around to the cutoff player who calls, and he has pocket jack, so seems like a fair flip. And the flop comes ace high. Finally, a double up. A much needed double up. Turn, fuck, Jack. God damn it. And I'm out. Drawing dead when pocket jacks turns a set. Very disappointing. Very unfortunate way to end this tournament experience. Bullet number 3. I love poker so fucking much. Holy shit. Oh my god.
I don't think they'll let you. It's
3 max? Alright. Okay. Now I am full max tilted because I just found out that you can't buy in again. This is really upsetting. They just capped it at 2, and I just found out after I busted, so now I guess I can enjoy the rest of tonight by the beach and chilling in beautiful weather. But poker-wise, yeah, a little upset at how that happened. The second bullet was just comical because, one, I got back into the same table that I just busted from like 10 seconds ago, so that was cool. Just be with the same people. First hand, ace king, lose to king jack, and then the bust out hand, just of course turn jack for a set of jacks. So that's it. Tournaments are all about max pain or max glory, and there's no in between. And that's like the life and journey that I signed up for when I decided to really want to invest more time in the tournaments. They're a lot of fun when you run deep. They're a lot of pain when you don't run as good or sun run, and just gotta get really lucky. And today I was really unlucky, and that's just how poker goes sometimes. You know, running bad is always like part of the game, and I'm fortunate enough to have sun run my first couple of years of playing poker. But days like this, still really annoying, really frustrating, tilting. But I'm just glad I have the opportunity to play this in Aruba, and I'm looking forward to next year when this happens again. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys here as well, because I don't think a lot of people know about this circuit, and it's a lot of fun. Players are awesome. Tournament structure is really fun and great, and you can win a WSOP ring event just in paradise next to the beach. So there's that. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to detilt as best as I can. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.